Yellow. It's interesting. When we observe highlight reels of great fighters, captivated by their moments of success, we forget the work, the setup, the time it took to create that one moment. Even when it comes to switching a man off, popular mechanics would indicate that it is rarely a single punch, but more likely many punches that added up over time. That was the case even with Mike Tyson. Even though he was renowned for his ability to one-punch man off, it was often an onslaught of hooks and uppercuts perfectly timed against his bigger opponents that got the job done. The result of all of this is that we often neglect that finesse, that methodical ability to not get hit. The science men like Tyson Fury are master clinicians of. Despite his name being partially derived from the great Mike Tyson, Tyson Fury cannot be any more different. Where Iron Mike was a smaller heavyweight delivering structured, vicious speed and power, Tyson Fury is a free-flowing giant with many looks to his game, seemingly untouchable and perhaps the biggest phantom you could ever see. It truly is strange watching the man. He's like this giant standing right in front of his opponents, but even Deontay Wilder had said, Fury has this weird voodoo about him, dancing about the canvas, his opponents just can't seem to catch him. Truly, Fury is a paradox to what we'd conventionally think when we think heavyweight. Unfortunately though, most people do not realize what is happening, thus underappreciate the skill set. Mike Tyson was an instant hit for his ability to consistently spark his opponents, but even now, many people don't realize what Fury is doing. Underappreciated, especially during his Klitschko bout, where he straight up schooled Klitschko with absolute ease. He wasn't hurting him with an emphasis on devastating power. Klitschko just could not read it. He could not find his timing. When you take a closer glance, you realize it's not even his physical attributes that make him special. The man is a genius, reading his opponent's game, their style, and not letting them play it at all. His IQ and confidence are core components to his ability to finesse his opponents. That said, how many humans could you even imagine standing in front of a monster like Deontay Wilder, perfectly composed, unfazed by the potential deliverance of power? Dancing around him, messing with him, touching him at will with absolute confidence throughout. Fury states that the only time he got hit hard by Wilder was when he decided to step outside his game to deliver power. Could that actually be the answer to Fury's untouchable status? Where Iron Mike was great, perhaps Tyson Fury, for the reverse, is in a league of his own. Thank you for joining me as we take a closer glance. Let's start with Fury's stance. Very standard, lead foot pointing towards his opponent, back foot pointing out, which allows him to pivot that foot, thus his mass into a punch. Also very standard. When he commits to his jab, it's not just to establish respect, but also part of his feeling out process. He steps left towards the power hand, which in turn grants him center line for his own power hand. In these instances, he is only feeling for his backhand's window while also staying ready to pull his opponent's punch if it comes. He's so confident in his reactions, his mental composure, engaged for his opponent's game that he's comfortable lowering his hands, which opens up a new dimension to strike from. Watch this jab here. Watch how he throws an arm punch with no mass. It's to gauge how his opponent will react, but note as he does, Fury also steps back. He's reading the fight, while defending against the possibility of a follow-up. With recon of that moment, he predicts how his opponent will shell, then simply slings his arm around, guard from that same lowered hand position. Casually tying up, his opponent is trying to build momentum against the ropes. It's easy to see just how comfortable Fury is in this arena. Here, a demonstration of Fury's understanding of body mechanics. He throws his arm out as he sees the incoming punch, which works as a counterbalance for his head movement. This allows him to circle away from the punch and into more space. Watch how crisp this jab cross is. It emphasizes power on a bare minimum. He does move his feet properly to distribute weight, but there is no wind-up, there is no telegraph, it's just a tight motion from where his arms are. It lands with virtually no reaction from Schwarz prior. Fury does not emphasize power, but a heavyweight with a grasp of proper body mechanics must always be respected. For this bout, Fury actually put on more weight intentionally. He weighs more here than he did during his Wilder bout. The more mass you have in proportion to your ability to leverage that mass, the more your power must be respected, even if you do not swing like Ruiz or Wilder. Here, you'll see exactly why Fury's method of punching is so effective. Stepping into the pocket, he goes to deliver a lead hook, but watch how Schwarz looks to eat the punch, then counter with his own. By a hair, Fury sees it all, then lets it graze past him, even turning his head to dodge it. How is this possible? His reaction time and mental composure are remarkable, but also, every time you throw a punch, you have to recover from that punch, otherwise you're just off balance and or open to your opponent's follow-up. Usually, the more force you generate, the more force you have to recover from. But in Fury's case, because he invests just enough power to be respected, he retains his balance, thus is able to quickly recover before Tom's counter connects. This is the advantage of using less power, a greater window of recovery, which in turn reduces his opponent's window of follow-up. In this second round, this is where Fury picks up. You saw Fury mostly probing, touching with his lead, getting a feel for Schwarz. In round 2, we see more of his kit start opening up. This here is beautiful and a demonstration of how creative, how vast Fury's arsenal is. He does not rely on a fixed or perfect technique, but here, he wants Schwarz to see his left hand. He wings it, then intentionally touches guard to shell Tom up. When you defend one way, you're open in another way. Fury slings a wound-up bolo uppercut. Because he got Tom's guard closed so tight, he never saw it coming. Instantly, Fury makes the read and adjusts to your behavior, his jab successfully getting Schwarz to shell up each time it's flicked. And Fury has been doing well, countering the high guard with an uppercut. In southpaw, watch how this time, Schwarz defends the uppercut, which in turn opens his guard. Fury sees this, then watch how he mimics that wound-up bolo uppercut motion. What do you think is coming next? The wind-up looks exactly like a bolo, doesn't it? Watch how Schwarz opens guard to defend a punch that never existed. A haymaking hook came in place of that bolo. Noting that Fury is also in southpaw demonstrates how proficient he is with either stance. Tyson Fury establishes complete control. Schwarz cannot find his rhythm. He cannot find his window to time his own punch. Fury doesn't even need to keep his hands up because he's got such a firm gauge of Schwarz. Tom tries something else. He straight up attempts to fight Fury against the ropes. He's throwing haymakers, but Tyson Fury can see these a mile away. His confidence and mental composure makes such a style of striking virtually null. Easily, he blocks the first strike, then shoulder rolls the second. Schwarz tries to peel guard for his backhand, but again, shoulder roll as Fury sees it a mile away. Shoulder roll, pull, slips into a new angle with now his back off the ropes. This is crazy. It is a byproduct of how comfortable Fury is in that arena. Smiling at the end of it like it was not even a big deal. Any telegraph at all versus Fury's reaction time and understanding of body mechanics, it innately translates into punches whisking air. Now this is crazy. When you slow it down, it's shocking. Most fighters, when they are in the moment, unloading their punches, even when the opponent is done, they'll likely still fire a shot or two instinctively. Watch in the moment his final punch connects. He instantly gauges Tom's next decision to go down. He could have thrown another punch, but instantly after seeing Tom's reaction, he leaves the space and lets Tom touch the canvas. This is Tyson Fury's true talent, his fight IQ, his ability to read his opponent's status, then adjust to it with pure, lucid decision-making. If you can gauge the weight of what you just saw, it's impossible for you to recognize Tyson Fury as anything short of a genius. He's a phantom for this very reason. It's not that he moves any faster than his opponents, but more so, he's just so good at reading and stifling his opponent's decisions that almost nothing from their game is ever given the window needed to connect. Armed with textbook alongside an arsenal of weird looks and punches from either orthodox or southpaw, it's no wonder he's so hard to read. It's hard to counter him because he retains his balance, rarely investing power beyond respect, and he simply picks you apart while giving you little room for your own game because of his genius tier IQ reading your game. A mad scientist of boxing. That is perhaps the best way to describe Tyson Fury. As chaotic as his style may seem, it is absolutely a science that he is wielding. It's real when Fury states that he comes from a lineage of fighting royalty, as what he's doing is very sophisticated, but by that same virtue, underappreciated by the masses. It's natural. It's the same reason why we'd rather listen to mumble rap and see explosions than hear out a scientist. It takes a degree of understanding, a foundation built to actually appreciate substance from the latter. When that bridges gap though, naturally, we start to grasp and appreciate the intricacies of our universe. To that end, thank you, Tyson Fury and Tom Schwartz, for this lesson. If you'd like more from me, please subscribe and hit the notifications. Thank you if you did. It really does help the channel. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. It's good karma. And until next time, peace.